Hey, welcome to Plants Are My Therapy. I've been making videos on making thrift store finds into beautiful and creative planters. But this video is going to focus on using the vases that you have and repurposing them into planters. But these vases are vases that you don't want to drill through or destroy because these vases are expensive, valuable, or sentimental. These are nice vases. They are high quality, they are generations old, but they still can be used as repurposed as planters. The problem is because of the shape of these vases, if you drill a hole in the bottom and put a plant in here, you won't get the plant out unless you destroy the plant or destroy the vase, and I don't want to have to deal with that. This vase already has a hole because it was lamped. During the 1920s and 1930s, vases, old vases, were turned into lamps, which means this vase is early 1900s or late 1800s, so it's almost 100 years old, and I don't want to destroy a vase that big, but I can still repurpose it as a planter, even with the hole on the bottom. This vase is a nice vase. It's a Japanese vase, high quality, probably mid 1970s, 1960s, but this can't be repurposed because the opening in the top is too narrow. And I don't like keeping fresh flowers around. It's too high maintenance. So instead of having all of these vases hanging around the house, and I don't really want to give them away, I'm just going to repurpose them into planters, but in a way where it's not going to destroy the vase or the plants. And this is how I'm going to do it. I've noticed that some vases, I love this vase. This vase is beautiful. The painting, this hand painted vase is probably almost 100 years old. I don't want to give it away in case one of my children or grandchildren wants it, but I don't want it just hanging around the house. I want it to build up memories with them now. So I've discovered that some of these disposable bottles fit perfectly in here. You just have to modify it to be a planter or a liner. You may think that it's narrow, but look at this plant. This plant is a pothos, a golden pothos, and this is probably 2.5 times bigger. The bottle is probably 2.5 times bigger in volume. So this plant, if grown in this planter, can grow for probably the next 2 or 3 years and probably could thrive even longer than that. This is a thrift store find. It's old, probably 1930s to 1950s, Chinese. The top is missing. This was once a jar, probably for ginger, a dried ginger. When there's English words on it, it's probably after 1920. But then I know this design is from 1930s to 1950s, and it's a nice design. This one I probably will drill a hole in the bottom and make a nice planter because it's not useful as a jar because it doesn't have its lid anymore, and it's gonna look cute on a windowsill with a small plant in it, and at least it'll add character to the room. This is also a thrift store find, and I was gonna drill a hole through it. It doesn't have a lid on it, but then when I look closer to the artwork and the design, it looks like it's from the mid 1800s to 1890s. Around 1890s, the US government required anyone shipping porcelain into the United States to put their name on it, and there's no markings on the bottom. So before 1890s, a lot of these pots didn't have any markings on the bottom. So this pot is almost 200 years old, and even though it only cost me $1.50, I don't want to destroy this pot because this is part of history already. I prefer the classic Japanese style of painting, and I really like this vase, and I don't want to give it up. But then, it's all around the house, and I have a sofa table facing a window. I'm thinking I'm going to repurpose these vases into planters, but keep them safe in case my children or grandchildren want them after I'm gone. So I've found this plant. It's a Calathea velata. I don't know, it's a dark green plant with really nice pink stripes in it. And it does well in low light, and my house is filled with low light. So I'm gonna replant this plant in this reused, recycled, repurposed water bottle. I already burnt holes in the bottom for drainage with a soldering iron. I guess I should have showed you that first. Anyways, I'm putting gravel on the bottom because that helps with drainage. I'm not going to put a coffee filter in there because I can't get my hand in there. The potting mix is my classic potting mix that I like. It's 2 parts of potting soil, 1 part of perlite for drainage, aeration, and moisture, and 1 part of volcanic cinder for aeration and drainage, and about half a part of orchid bark to keep some of the nutrients inside the pot and not drain out with the drainage water. I'm surprised how small these roots are. This plant actually gets pretty big, so this water bottle, this reused water bottle, is probably have enough, about twice the volume of that original pot. So I suspect that this plant will thrive in here and get quite large with the volume within this recycled, repurposed, reused water bottle. And I want to get as much soil inside, make sure that there's no air pockets in there, because that's going to hurt the plant, if not kill the plant. And then another benefit to having this transparent water bottle is that if the soil is dry, you can just take it out and look at the soil right through the water bottle. If the plant needs to be replanted or repotted because it's too root bound, that will be easily recognized, and then the plant can be reused and repotted without destroying the vase inside. I always top my indoor plants with sand or some type of topper because I don't want the dirt blowing out, and a topper will also affect the rate of evaporation, so I don't have to water the plants as often. As long as it's in a well-drained soil, this shouldn't hurt the plants. And here you go. This plant is headed to a pampered life in the living room window, getting filtered light in a beautiful vase that's almost 100 years old, and this plant is going to grow really nice. This is how I modified to repurpose this used water bottle. I got this soldering iron from Walmart. Don't get the soldering iron from the hobby section, it's $13. This one from the hardware section only cost about, I think, $6 or $7. And since it's electric, get rid of all the water. I'm also using a glass cutting board to protect the surface of the table that I resurfaced. The soldering iron comes with a stand, but I'm not used to using a soldering iron, so I haven't formed the habit of putting it back on the stand. But look how fast this works. All you have to do is just poke it through, and there's not even any resistance. The thing that I have to point out, as soon as you plug it on, there's no off switch to this. There's no on and off switch to the soldering iron. As soon as you plug it on, it's going to heat up, and it's going to heat up fast. So I'm just making as many drainage holes as possible. Actually, I'm having fun. I don't think you need this many drainage holes in the bottom of your planter. 5 or 6 would be adequate. I think I must have put around 20 around this thing. To cut the bottle, don't cut through the top. The mouthpiece is the strongest part of the bottle and you could hurt yourself. The best thing to do is to get an X-Acto knife or one of those case cutters, and then just cut alongside where you want to cut the top of your planter. And I just cut enough to get in my scissors because I have more control over the scissors, and then just cut around. It doesn't have to be perfect, and you can always trim it. The main thing is that you take your time and don't hurt yourself. Not using the razor, not cutting through the mouthpiece is going to decrease your risk of injury significantly. So just use the case cutter, make a little slit, get your scissors in, and just cut around it. And then just cut so it'll just fit inside of the planter. I don't usually waste my money buying bottled water. I think it's a waste of money, but I've been buying a lot of these bottled water to use so I can repurpose as planters, and this will work on almost any type of vase. And well, I hope you're able to learn from my trials and errors, and I hope you like this video. Please like this video, please subscribe. I really appreciate any words of encouragement in the comment section. It's been pretty lonely on my channel lately. Thank you for all my subscribers. I know I have less than 10, but I really appreciate all of you. Anyways, thank you for watching. Aloha.